whole. This morning I had the privilege to visit Tagore Archive and Museum. And I was simply enamored, I was simply overjoyed. I was limping physically because of this sprain in my leg. But mentally I was jumping in delight because of the fact that such a thing, such a well-researched archive and museum can shape up. Not in Bengal, but outside the boundary of Bengal in Jamshedpur. I was indeed overjoyed. And so well researched it is that as Odhyokho Rabindra Bhavan, I must record my appreciation for those, especially I think Sri Ashish Chaudhary has the pivotal role in it. I not only appreciate, I not only congratulate, but I simply salute to all of you who have made this museum and archive possible in Tagore society. This is not merely an expression of my joy, but I'm simply so overjoyed that I called my colleagues in Vishwabharati and requested them to come over here and see, to visit what you people are doing here. I'm simply overjoyed once again. It is also a matter and record that the School of Music, Dance, Art and Craft, established on 19th March 1967 at Jamshedpur, you are all aware of it. I just simply take this opportunity to remind you once again, was blessed with the patronage of some eminent singer teachers like Suchitra Mitra, Maya Sen, etc., who had been a fountain source of inspiration to the young students and faculty as well. And once again, with a view to disseminate Tagore's philosophy of education and cultural heritage in this city in particular, and the entire Jharkhand state in general, Tagore Academy, we all know, an English medium school was established as well. And what distinguishes, I mention this because all these things make an institution simply laudable. And what distinguishes this school in spirit from other institutions is its firm belief in the philosophy of education as nurtured by Rabindranath, which emphasizes learning interspersed, I repeat, learning interspersed with joy and mirth. Ananda Sarva Kaje, Ananda Vishwa Maje, leading finally to emancipation of soul, Sa Vidya Ja Vimuktaye. That is knowledge which liberates, which emancipates, as enunciated by our Upanishadic texts. And it is these two premises of joy and emancipation underlying the basic tenets of Tagorean thought that finds it. We will be surprised that what Tagore perceived long back, it is that concept, it finds its resonance in modern educational precepts too. Now, as this school, which celebrates its annual convocation today, and this society, which derives its name from Tagore, and since this school is dedicated, this society is dedicated to Tagore, I therefore start my convocation address delving deep into this arena, the concept of holistic education as promulgated by Rabindranath. Now, my dear students, let me ask you a very basic question. What is education? Why are you here? We may quote here from Swami Vivekananda's concise definition of education. Education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. Now this perfection pertains to nurturing and blossoming of the innate qualities of the human faces and virtues lying dormant in each of us. We encounter an echo of this soul-purifying education. Education is that which purifies your soul, which purifies your mind. In one of Tagore's illuminating articles, Shiksha Samosya, Problems on Education. শিক্ষার আদর্শকে আরো যদি উচ্চে তুলিতে পারি, যদি কেবল পরীক্ষা ফল লোলুপ পুঁথির শিক্ষার দিকে না তাকাইয়া থাকি, যদি সর্বাঙ্গীন মনুষ্যত্বের ভিত্তি স্থাপনকেই শিক্ষার লক্ষ্য বলিয়া স্থির করি, তবে তাহার ব্যবস্থা করা প্রয়োজন। If we want to uphold the ideal of education, if we feel reluctant to concentrate singularly on examination-oriented educational setup, if we aim at the foundation of complete humanistic values as the principal objective of our education system, then that sort of education is to be arranged. So, as such, what I want to emphasize to my dear students is that the essence of Tagore's educational philosophy strives for a free, emancipated, joyous, holistic education, which concomitantly will encourage, I draw your attention to this very pertinent point, which concomitantly will encourage communion with nature and various forms of self-expression, be it in music, be it in dance, be it in fine arts. This attitude towards all-encompassing education is embedded in this childhood and adolescence. And I just give you a cursory look at the formative stage of Tagore's career. We all know that Tagore had a horrifying experience of schooling, which was restricted within the periphery of classroom only, which was thoroughly mechanical and hardly inculcates joy or delight. And this bitterness, which he expressed in Problems on Education. Are you all conversant with Bangla, or should I translate it in English? Is there anybody who is not conversant with Bangla? School বলিতে আমরা যাহা বুঝি সে একটা শিক্ষা দিবার পর। It is simply a machine. মাস্টার এই কারখানার একটা অংশ। 10:30টার সময় ঘন্টা বাজাইয়া কারখানা খোলে, কল চলিতে আরম্ভ হয়, মাস্টারেরও মুখ চলিতে থাকে। 4টের সময় কারখানা বন্ধ হয়, মাস্টার কলও তখন মুখ বন্ধ করেন। ছাত্রেরা 2-4 পাত কলে ছাঁটা বিদ্যা লইয়া বাড়ি ফেরে। তারপর পরীক্ষার সময় এই বিদ্যার যাচাই হইয়া তাহার উপর মার্কা পড়ে। I translate in English. What we understand as school is simply a machine for imparting training. The master, quote unquote, is simply a part of that factory. The factory opens at 10:30 a.m. with ringing of a bell. The machine starts, so continues master with his lesson. With the closure of factory at 4 p.m., the master machine stops, and the students return home with a few pages on knowledge tailored by machine. Hence, marking is made based on assessment of this knowledge at the time of test. Now, against this thoroughly mechanical approach towards education, which is simply shorn of creative delight, in which there is no scope for dance, no scope for music, no scope for nature, which is simply restricted in cramming of a few texts within an alien language, Tagore started thinking in terms of establishing a school of his own, which will fulfill the cherished dream of an ideal institution, which will vibrate with joy, where the mind will be without fear, chitta jetha bhayoshunno, and what is most important for you, that where a student has the liberty to express himself or herself in music, in dance, in fine arts, instead of simply cramming geometrical solutions, geometrical extras, etc. I think you like this point. And this concept that education must be joyous, there should be a place for nature, there should be a place for fine arts, for creativity. This concept he imbibed from our ancient Upanishads, which describe an ideal situation for imparting paravidya from the preceptor to the disciple in the solitude of a forest. Vidyamcha jastad vedo bhayamsaha avidyaya mrityum tritva vidyaya amritam ashmite. We overcome death created by avidya, and we are blessed with amritam by the real vidya. Rabindranath echoed, আমাদের যথার্থ শিক্ষা তপবনে প্রকৃতির সঙ্গে মিলিত হয়ে তপস্যার দ্বারা পবিত্র হয়ে। He modeled his school on this ideal, and in a letter addressed to Jagadish Chandra Bose, the famous scientist, and his friend, he writes, I have been working hard to open a school at Shantiniketan. The whole system will be just like that of the ancient resident guru schools. There will be teaching in fine arts, there will be teaching in dance, there will be teaching in music. A student will be at liberty to opt for all these varied subjects if he likes. That is, a student of physics can opt for music as subsidiary. It is therefore quite in the fitness of things that his opening address in the Brahmacharya Ashram on December 22, 1901 emphasized the ideals of ancient Indian thought procedure. And at the same time, he believed that open-air mode of education, where education training will be imparted in open air, is the ideal mode, because nature, he believes, is part and parcel of education, and it is for this reason that in his two schools, Pathabhavan and Shikkha-chatra in Shantiniketan, this nature-centric mode of education has been accepted and eulogized as a model education. What he perceived years back, it is now accepted as an ideal model of education throughout the world nowadays. And another important point, then I come to the main theme of today's convocation address, that he also, as he believed that nature should be a part of the curricula, he introduced several functions and festivities in Shantiniketan, like Vriksharopon, that is planting of saplings, Holokorshan, that is plowing in Sriniketan. Now I come to the main point. Essence of Tagore's concept of holistic education, of which my students, you have already become a part. The essence of his holistic education lies in its emphasis on creative joy, not combined necessarily within the four walls of the classroom. Now what is this joy, quote unquote? Tagore himself defines. Quote, joy is the outcome of detachment of self and lies in freedom of spirit. We feel this ecstasy around us. We see the world not as merely existing, but decorated in its forms, sounds, colors, and lines. We feel in our heart that there is one who through all things proclaims, I have joy in my creation. Now, joy is enshrined in creativity, in self-expression, and spontaneous outburst of one's emotion. Therefore, what I want to emphasize throughout my address, that side by side with textual reading, Tagore encouraged art and music as various forms of creativity and included them in his curricula. In Vishwabharati, where the world meets in one nest, Yatra Vishwam Bhavati Eko Niro, that is a conglomeration of Orient and the Occident. Tagore initiated a new text. This is important and significant for all of you students. Tagore, this you must know also. Tagore initiated a new text in aesthetics through art, in which it believes a young, beautiful mind finds its joy of expression. On the other hand, he was equally enthusiastic about music, which caught his imagination throughout his life and in which he searched for spontaneous outpour of human mind. ভারতবর্ষে প্রত্যেক ঋতুরই একটা না একটা উৎসব আছে। In India, each season is celebrated through a festival. কিন্তু কোন ঋতু যে নিতান্ত বিনা কারণে তাহার হৃদয় অধিকার করিয়াছে তাহা যদি দেখিতে চাও তবে সঙ্গীতের মধ্যে সন্ধান করো। But you have to find out, you have to search which season has actually occupied, has actually captured our mind. If you want to search it, then search it within music. কেননা সঙ্গীতেও হৃদয়ের ভিতরকার কথাটা ফাঁস হইয়া পড়ে। This is because of the fact that your innate ideas, your underlying thought becomes manifest through music. And I remind you that Tagore, when he was writing this, when he was experimenting with this sort of educational thoughts in Vishwabharati, India was a British colony, and therefore, in a British-oriented hegemonic education which believed in creation of a group of clubs who will help in fostering British regime, there is hardly any scope of joy in the education system, hardly any scope of music and fine arts in the education system. And that is the reason Tagore lamented over the general apathy and negligence towards music and art and their non-inclusion in our curricula. সঙ্গীত আমাদের শিক্ষিত লোকের শিক্ষার অঙ্গ নয়। Music has no role in our education system. আমাদের কলেজ নামক কেরানিগিরির কারখানা ঘরে শিল্প সঙ্গীতের কোনো স্থান নাই। Art, craft and music has no role in our curricula, in our colleges. And আশ্চর্যের কথা, যে সকল বিদ্যালয়কে আমরা ন্যাশনাল নাম দিয়া স্থাপন করিয়াছি সেখানেও কলাবিদ্যার কোনো আসন পাতা হইল। And it's indeed strange that in our national schools and colleges also there is no place for fine arts. মানুষের সামাজিক, this is the kernel of the entire theory. মানুষের সামাজিক জীবনে ইহা, that is music and art, প্রয়োজন যে কত বড় সেটা মুখস্থ করিতে করিতে, ডিগ্রি নিতে নিতে সেই বোধটুকু পর্যন্ত আমরা সম্পূর্ণ হারাইয়া বসিয়াছি। But what a great role music can play in the social life of man, we have simply lost that understanding while cramming and while in our mad quest to obtain degrees. And it is no wonder, therefore, that Tagore will establish an exclusive center for arts, Convocation, which later bifurcated into another center for music, Sangeet Bhavan in Vishwabharati. And I hope many of you in future who are recipients of diplomas today will be teachers in our institutions, Convocation and Sangeet Bhavan. As a matter of fact, art and music were always considered inseparable components of formal education with an avowed objective to offer students a scope. We may repeat the concluding lines of his speech addressed to a student in the Convocation ceremony of Calcutta University, 1937. নিঃসংকোচে মস্তক তুলিতে দাও অনন্ত আকাশে উদাত্ত আলোকে মুক্তির বাতাসে. Now, my dear students,